Namaskar, we welcome you all at the literary platform Sahityapath. You are watching KHAMOSH Bhookh. In the last episode, we saw how Buddhiya and Sukhiya earned thousands of rupees through their singing and playing Dhol. If the ones staring were truly decent, then there was no problem. They understood that a beautiful blooming flower is meant to be admired from a distance. But troublemakers were a different story. They never gave up easily. However, Sukhiya knew how to handle such situations. After all, grandchildren often inherit traits from their grandparents. If their grandfather was a formidable wrestler with a commanding presence, Sukhiya was no less fierce. She was strong enough to take on a few men herself. But while Sukhiya was resilient, she had unknowingly made Buddhiya dependent on her. Whenever there was danger, Sukhiya never let Buddhiya face it. During one such performance, after the crowd had dispersed, a troublemaker started following them. Wherever the two sisters went, he would show up. Noticing this, they decided to head home, but he refused to back off. Buddhiya grew scared, but Sukhiya knew how to confront danger. Before reaching their home on the hill, they had to pass through a rocky forested path. Carrying a dhol and a harmonium made it impossible to run. Taking advantage of the deserted road, the man grabbed Buddhiya's hand. Sukhiya could never tolerate anyone mistreating Buddhiya. Her rage erupted. She put down the dhol and harmonium, picked up whatever she could find, and started attacking him. At the end, he had no choice but to flee. The sisters had done something similar to Shekhua before. In the hilly region, water was not always easy to find, but when it was available, it was crystal clear. Near their house was a waterfall that sometimes flowed and sometimes dried up. Where the water fell, a large pond had formed, and the local villagers used it for bathing and washing. If a stranger harbors ill intentions, it can still be somewhat understandable. But when someone from your own village, someone who knows you, tries to take advantage, it is even more painful. As the saying goes, a man with young daughters has no real friends. One day, the two sisters went to bath as usual. The pond was large, but separate bathing areas had been designated for men and women. Buddhiya was floating in the water, enjoying her bath, while Sukhiya was scrubbing clothes with clay instead of soap. Suddenly, a boy named Shekhu swam over from the men's side and began harassing Buddhiya. Despite her repeated protests, he refused to back off. Sukhiya immediately jumped into the water and pulled Buddhiya out. But Shekhu, like a relentless crocodile, continued his pursuit. Enraged, Sukhiya took the same wooden mungra she had been using to beat clothes and struck him hard on the head. His head split open, and as he stumbled backward, the sisters pelted him with stones. He had no choice but to flee. A woman, if she chooses, can defend herself against a man. The only thing required is strong resistance, something many women fail to muster because they are conditioned to believe they are weak. But God has given them strength too. The problem is, from childhood, they are told they are fragile, and so they accept it as the truth. This false belief leads to many unfortunate incidents. After this attack, Shekhu tried multiple times to harm the sisters, but he never succeeded. Meanwhile, Buddhiya returns back from her flashback memory. She began to wonder, if something like this happens again, what will I do? Who will protect me? Babuji. But where was he now? Had God sent him just once to fill her stomach? And when he left, where had he come from? Why had he come? He never told her anything, not even his name. Could he really be someone to rely on?